What's left?
Finished putting the cabinets in, countertops, paint. That's it.
Nice. Well,
I'll give you a tour
let's
here
get
in just
out.
a second.
We'll get a tour from the gym while he's getting prepared. I want to hear from you. Let's tour your lives. What was the win, the celebration, something you're proud of?
Walking into the new year with 9 new listings.
That's awesome.
Nice.
Dude,
That's not.
it's like everything just kind of came together all at one time.
I don't know if that's walking into the new year, if that's as much as strutting into the new year.
On fire.
That's
Like
awesome,
literal,
dude.
not on fire like good, on fire like literal.
Like, holy damn. Well, speaking of on fire, one of my rentals, they burnt the kitchen down yesterday, so
Oh no.
that's always fun. Word of caution: do not put spices on the back of your stove. They will fall off your stove when you're not paying attention and set the kitchen on fire.
Oh, jeez.
Can we say good morning? Happy Monday.
Good morning, happy Monday.
Good morning.
Ouch.
Happy Monday. Look, Spike.
Ouch. Ah,
So, oh, good morning, Peter. Good to see you. Good morning from the sauna. Good morning, Hunter. Good morning, Serena. Good morning, Tim. Good morning, Tabby.
morning.
Good Joanne. Good morning, Jim. Good morning, Rachel. Good morning, Jason. Good morning, Manaz. Good morning, Lydia, Adriana. It is 8:03 on Tuesday, January 7th. We are one full week into this new year, 2 days into the first week of business working. What is the most important thing in your life right now? Celebrating wins, right? We set intentions. How we control the way we think is how our lives go, right? So Jim's
Right.
walking in with 9 new listings. What else we got?
We launched our elite team yesterday at our
Five.
brokerage.
Yeah. How'd that
Yeah,
go?
good. There's like 5 agents in it. Manaz is in it with me. So um excited to get that started.
I'm excited for you. Jenny and I were talking about it, so I'm pretty stoked to see what that's going to bring for you guys, you gals, I should say.
There's a mix of us. There's two guys. So yeah,
We don't
yeah.
talk about them.
We don't talk about them. Yeah.
They don't show up on this call. They don't matter to me.
Yeah. So it's for mid-level agents because a lot of us drop off. So because we don't have a lot of the support after we graduate from the PC program. So it's to keep us in the industry. So
There we go.
for the accountability.
I love that. People don't like the way accountability feels. They don't. But they love how it creates opportunities for them in their life. All right. Raise your hand if you like being held accountable.
Well,
Exactly.
I actually do.
Yeah. Very, very rarely do we like to have tough conversations around, hey, you didn't do what you said you're going to do. But doesn't it feel good to be able to tell someone I did what I told you I would do? I kept my
Mhm.
word. I kept my word. My wife knows when I say I'm going to do something, I'm going to do it. She doesn't need to remind me every 6 months. But when you say you're going to do something and then you write it down and then you share what you wrote down with someone else, an
Mhm.
accountability partner, now you're exponentially more likely to make that happen. So I love that for you, Joanne. Lean into it, girls. Lean into that accountability, lean into the group, lean into each other. Real estate is an independent opportunity, right? You're an independent contractor. You do not work for anybody else but yourself, but
Mhm.
it's not something you have to do alone. And I'd rather you not. So, what other wins, celebrations, victories? I'm just gonna
Yesterday
sit
you
here.
were talking about kind of being not being reactive, and it reminded me a lot about I used to play soccer a lot, and one of my coaches was always telling us that about said just don't react to um or don't leave with a reaction. Think ahead. And I think like and all day yesterday I was thinking about that, and actually on the Sunday I was able to time block my entire week, and I was really happy that yesterday it went the way I wanted to, from the morning, from our call, from going to like my morning workout, and everything really just like I was able to stay on top of my all my time blocks. And I was like, how would that look like if I did that and I was intentional every Sunday?
Mhm.
So I was really happy about that, starting off Monday, right?
I love that, guys. This is real life stuff. Take the time to plan and intentionally move forward in life. So, a bad plan is better than no plan,
Right.
but a bad plan will help you create better plans because do not expect things to go perfectly.
Mhm.
Plan that you're going to have to pivot. Keller Williams has these bold laws. If you've never looked at them, I love bold laws. You can search the bold laws on Google and a bunch of them come up. And one of them is spontaneity is a conditioned response. How can I condition myself to be spontaneous? I'm making up words here. How can I condition my body to be spontaneous? So you're telling me I'm going to train myself to be
Hmm.
spontaneous? How is that possible?
Mhm.
You can.
Guys, do things always go to plan?
No.
No. But when we have a plan, do we not have an end result in mind?
Mhm.
Yeah, we do. We have a target goal. We have a destination. And just like the GPS destination, if the road changes, what does the plan do?
Changes.
Yeah.
Pivot.
Anyone ever heard the old GPSs recalculating route? Recalculating route. Remember that? It used to be a big joke because when things change, you recalculate. At 4 o'clock yesterday, 4:03 to be exact, do you think I was expecting to get a phone call from my client or my tenant John saying, "Hey, we caught the kitchen on fire"?
Mm.
Kind of derailed my evening.
Yeah.
You want to do something? It is what it is. I'm not freaking out. I'm not yelling and screaming, "Oh my God, what the heck?" And I get over there and he and his wife are freaking out. What are we going to do? How can we get this? I mean, it's simple. We'll just get it taken care of. I even told them yesterday, I said, guys, I may seem a little overly calm in these tough situations. I've seen this before. I've been through this before. So wouldn't you not say that that's a conditioned response?
Yeah.
I had 0 bingo cards for Monday that said kitchen fire. 0. You know, not even the free space on my bingo card for yesterday. But something spontaneous came up, like a flash in the pan, if you will. Little fire pun there. And you just got to roll with it.
Mhm.
But it doesn't mean I get to wipe off the rest of my calendar for the day. It just means I have
Well,
to push things a little bit. I got to adjust. I got to recalculate. Because today depends on everything from yesterday getting done. And so does tomorrow. Because if you keep pushing off today into tomorrow, you'll never get it done. Sitting down on a Sunday and planning out your week's fantastic way of controlling your schedule.
mhm.
Sitting down in the morning while you're drinking your cup of coffee, Some of you do that. Right, Tim? Gotta sit down, get your coffee. And you can plan your day. You can have an overall general plan for the week. This is what I need to get done this week. These are my things. Here's my big rocks. Here's my appointments. Here's my doctor's appointments. Here's my kids' stuff. All the big non-negotiables. And then every day you can plan around it. And then you have an outline for the day. I used to hate that in school where the teacher's like, "Oh, all right, I want you to sit down and create an outline for the paper you're going to write."
Mhm.
And I was always like, because I'm one of those people that doesn't believe in double work or multiple things. Although, why don't I just write the paper? Well, if you don't think about what you're going to do before you do it, how many times do you miss a step or miss an item or forget something?
Yeah. Hmm.
It's huge, right? Anyone ever built a piece of furniture or done a task and you're like, I got everything I need. And then you're in the middle of it and you're like,
Mhm.
crap, I don't have a hammer. I don't have a
Mhm.
screwdriver, something that it said I needed. Well, right there on the cover page it says, here's all the tools you're going to need. Get them together. Because when you take the time to gather the resources together, like your Sunday nights or your Sunday afternoons, you're taking time to gather yourself together, you'll have everything you need to be successful. Sometimes it's corporeal, like a physical item, a book, a binder, pencil, something like that. And other times it's completely mental. I'm gonna showcase. Mikey said to me yesterday, he's like, I want to go to an event, but I don't think I can be present while I'm there. I'm focused on too many things. I got too many things to focus on. Well, when you sit down and you put a plan in place, can you not segment time mentally also? You can. You can plan. You're like, you know what? I know I'm going to have a crisis this week, and I'm going to wait until 6 p.m. to handle the crisis. Just because everything deserves your energy and attention doesn't mean that everything deserves your energy and attention equally. And when you plan to it, like Fabi showed us, when you plan to it, you can execute that plan, you get a lot more done, and you feel awesome doing it. Who are my checklisters here, right? People love to check things off. Like you'll write a list so you could just check off something, right? The dopamine dumps. Doesn't it feel good? You go, got that done.
Mhm.
Top thing on your list is create lists. Done. If that's who you are, that's fine. But make sure the stuff on your list is impactful, not just dopamine chasing. Pick up shoes. Ha, done. I put them on my feet. Sucker. No. If you're creating a list, there's your big rocks, right? What are the 6 most important things you need to accomplish today? Start with number 1. Work down the list. When number 1 is done, move on to number 2. When 2 is done, move on to 3. And if 4, 5, and 6 don't get done, guess what tomorrow's tops 3 are?
4, 5, and 6.
4, 5, and 6. We're moving along. My wife and I help sponsor a huge car show here in Ore Valley every year. And part of it is organizing the shirts for the kids, the stuff we're selling at the booth, the merchandising. And last night I asked my wife, "Hey, have you guys ordered the shirts yet?" And she came a little unglued on me. She was just a little, I wouldn't say unglued. It was a soft point. She was frustrated because she could not get answers from the people we needed answers from. And I'm like, well, what can we do? What can I do to help? Where can I create urgency so this is resolved? Because if you're waiting for input from somebody else, it might be the most frustrating thing in your plan. But can you force people to make a decision? No. But you sure as hell can bother them, bug them, and keep it forefront of their mind because everybody's got a life. Everybody's got their own kitchen fires to deal with.
Mhm.
Sometimes you just need to remind them because they forgot because they didn't have a plan. and they let life take over what mattered. So don't be afraid to say, hey, just a little check-in. Where are we at with this? You know what? I'm sure it wasn't top of your list. However, we needed to talk about this. Because don't be swan-songed into thinking your plan is going to live exclusively in your head or in your world. It's going to include and affect others. So that's why it's super important for us to have better communication skills and be willing to have that accountability with ourselves and to give it to others.
Yeah.
Right? We often don't want to be the bad guy, bad girls. Be a bad girl if you want, whatever. No one's judging you. I see you, Gracie. No, but when you do it feels bad to call someone out on some stuff. You're like, hey, you promised me this or you told me that. Can you do so tactfully but still be accountable? Yeah. I'm sure you haven't gotten around to it, but where are we at with this? Oh, I'm sure you haven't had time to talk to your wife yet, but where are we at with this? Is that not part of the Exactly What to Say series we talk about? Right? Hey, Jim, I was waiting on that report. I'm sure you didn't get a chance to get it put together yet. Where are we at with getting the outline over to me? Oh, I totally forgot, man. Like the kitchen caught fire, the dog ran away, and there's a pig playing piano in the basement. You're like, okay, well, as soon as the song is over, let's get to work. Can I get that by this afternoon? I hope I'm like ringing some bells here, guys. As we move into the new you that's coming from this new year, we're
Mhm.
gonna plan, we're gonna execute, and then there's gonna be a who involved with your plan. Raise your hand if you can do everything by yourself. Everything you need. Everything, everything, everything. Bullshit. Absolute bullshit. Who wishes they could do it all themselves because you're tired of relying on other people? That's what I thought. That's more like it. But in your life, you're going to need more who energy.
Yeah.
So when you're doing your plans and you're taking care of your plans, who's involved? And how are they involved? Before I send Mikey a lead, what do I do, Mikey? Do I check on where you're at? What you're doing? I'm making sure he's not in the middle of something he can stop. Because sometimes he's doing something for his own plan, and my plan's not more important than his. But to me it is, and I sometimes have an ego around that I'm breaking, but I check in on Mikey. What are you working on? What do you got? Where you going? Where you at? Are you free? I got this opportunity. Can you chase it down? And sometimes he can't. And he's honest and truthful with me. He's like, dude, I'm in the middle of this, this, and that. I don't have the time right now. Or is it something that can wait till later? We communicate about it. Just like my boss does with me. She calls me up and says, hey, I got this, this, and that. Doesn't need to be done right now, but when do you think you can get it done for me? She's sneaky as hell. She knows I'm a people pleaser, and I'm just going to stop what I'm doing and get her stuff done for her because that's just who I am. And I'm working around that. I'm trying. I'm working around it. I'm working on it to not be that way. But there's always going to be a who involved. And if we're willing to say, we need help, you're part of my plan, we can build them into it and then realize when you add people, more spontaneity is going to be needed. Why is that?
More moving pieces.
Yeah. Think about every person in your world as a single line, right? A string. And as you add strings, what happens?
They get tangled sometimes.
You get tangled sometimes. You got a string going this way, you got a string going that way, you got a string going this way, you got a string going in circles, you got a string that's over here on the ground crying. You got all kinds of strings.
Yeah.
And sometimes they're going to intersect, sometimes they're going to cross, sometimes they're going to get completely confused. So live with some flexibility. Know that your plan is going to need some adjustment. So let's not be so rigid.
Yeah.
If it doesn't look
And to that point too, I've had to learn grace and forgiveness too. The more pieces I add, the more you said flexible, but grace came to mind.
Grace,
I
yeah.
in the past I didn't have a whole lot of grace. It was do it right, do it now, and do it my way. The more
Amen.
pieces you add, the more flexibility you had to add.
I was 19 years old when I was handed the keys to a Lowe's home improvement center. I was a pit bull. I would get shit done. I didn't work with people, I worked through people. Get out of my way. I can do it better than you, faster than you, and at least it'll be done right. I don't care if I got to work 36 hours straight. And that burned me out fast.
Yeah.
My leadership, I remember Jim Hugel, he pulled me aside. It was one of the best conversations. And to this day, it sticks in my head. The one sentence he said, he pulls me aside and he was mad at me for working 36 hours straight. He pulled me aside. We're doing a regional VP walk, which is like the big corporate people come to town and they check on the store and you get like a gold star if you did good or someone gets fired if you did bad. Kind of a pretty serious event. And at the time, I was the lumber head of the entire building materials department. And we had to clean it up. And I didn't have any staff I could trust. I had no one I could lean into that I could trust. I had no leadership that I could trust. I had an ego that I'm the only one that could get it done. And so I worked 36 hours straight, nearly killed myself doing it to get this department looking perfect. And the RVP walks through and he's excited. He high fives me. He goes, "This is the best looking lumber department I've seen. Great job, kid. Keep it up. You're going somewhere." And I'm like, hell yeah, gold star for me. And Jim pulls me aside and he's mad at me. But why are you mad at me? Mind you, 19-year-old Dan was very much affected by the opinions of others. I wanted his appreciation. I wanted his sign off. I was looking up to him. He was my mentor. And Jim was mad at me. He pulled me in the office. He said, "Kid," actually, I think he said son. He always said son. He was a Southern guy. He goes, "Son, I don't pay you to do it. I pay you to get it done."
Mm,
Let that resonate for people that don't want to hire a transaction coordinator. I want to save my $300, $400 and do it myself. No,
Yeah.
thanks.
Yeah. Remember that. I don't pay you to do it. I pay you to get it done. Your job as a leader of your plan is not to do all the work yourself, but to make sure it gets done. And in that next 3 years that I worked in that environment, I learned leverage. I learned scalable execution. If I could do a level 10, I could train others around me to bring up their levels a little bit. So if, let's say I can sell 10 pallets of concrete in a week, then I could train people around me to sell 5 or 6. Well, if I stepped out of sales, I needed 2 people to replace me. But then I was able to train 4, 5, 8, 10 people to sell 5, 6, 7 pallets of concrete. Now, I'm not selling any concrete, so we lost my production. But haven't we created scale to the ability of others to grow around me?
mhm.
Not everybody is going to work in a facet or manner that you work. Not everybody is going to be you and your expectation of things. The myth understanding that we talk about in the MREA is that people hire me because of me. No, people hire you because of your standards. And you can teach your standards to other people. I can tell you that Michael's expectations and execution of his contracts and his deals is at a higher standard than mine. That's why I trust him so much. Because I know if I hand him one of my clients, it'll get taken care of at a higher level than my own expectation. But he's naturally good at it. I know if I bring in a question for this broker or that broker, I can give it to him and hand it to him. And I can believe that they'll get it done because their expectation of greatness is higher or same as mine. I lead with grace, understanding that people have all kinds of strings in their life too. and things are going to change and things are going to adopt and people are going to leave. You got to be flexible around it. Your plan is going to change because their plan is going to change and they all intertwined. You got to be flexible. Don't be so tied to the outcome that your string is rigid and snaps.
Yeah.
But when you got other people involved, remember, like, find the leverage because you can multiply your activity by getting other people involved. Oprah Winfrey used to talk about this all the time. She goes, I have the same 24 hours in a day that everyone else does. But she throws her money around because she gets people to do things for her. What $15 an hour tasks are you doing in your plan that you could leverage off somebody else?
Yeah.
Could I hire somebody to come on this morning call and replace me?
Yeah. Mm,
No.
won't be the same.
People can try, but can I hire somebody to replace the 4 hours of paperwork and documentation I need to do later today?
Mhm.
100%. I am out here on Pima Mine Road, and there's a wild ass donkey just walking around. Wild. But think about that. Can you replace yourself in a listing appointment? Eventually. Can you replace someone to do the paperwork? Absolutely.
Yeah.
What $15 an hour task are you tripped up on that's keeping you pinned to your plan that you can't go do a $400 an hour task? I think one of the worst things we've ever done as a society is train people to trade dollars for hours. And I'm going to prove it to you. All right, 3 people. What was your first job and how much did you make per hour? Fabby.
Jersey Mike's. I think I made like $8.25 an hour.
Okay. Joanne.
I worked at a video store.
Okay.
I don't remember how much I made.
Yeah, I'll stick in there. Anyone else remember what you made your first job?
Yep.
Serena, what is it?
McDonald's at 325. So that shows my age right there.
There you go. Yeah, she worked 10 years ago for a little bit. But here's the thing. We remember because it was important to us how much
Mhm.
we made per hour. I remember my first job. I made $6.63 an hour. It's a Waffle House cook. Gang, right? Mikey, your first job was working for your dad, wasn't it?
No, actually, my first job was working as a parts runner for Borderland Construction, and I want to say it was probably like 5.25 an hour or something like that.
Yeah. But we all look at that, right? We all remember. We remember a time in our lives that, like, our job was we associated our success with our dollar per hour rate. And you traded at $5 an hour, you traded 8 hours for $40. I'll be honest with you right now, that makes me sick.
Well, but then I started my own graphics business, and I was able to work for like $1.25 an hour.
At least. Right? I did the math the other day. I make roughly $30 an hour,
Wow.
but I get paid 24 hours a day.
Mm.
Think about that. My wife and I joke about it, right? She's like, I make more per hour than you do. I'm like, yeah, I just get paid for every hour of the day. You don't. When we start looking at things into that scope is okay, I'm working all day, but am I doing a $15 an hour task I could pay someone else to do that would free me up to do a lot more? So look at that when you set your plans and in expectation. I don't want you to look at the plan for where you're at right now because you might not be in a place in your business right now where you need that leverage, but you might be in a trajectory that someday soon you're going to need to hire someone like a director of ops. Like Anthony just hired one this last year, and I'm sure that I don't know how much she gets paid. I don't want to offend her, but I'm sure that dollar per hour position has offloaded some of the menial tasks Anthony shouldn't be doing that has opened them up to generate more revenue for the company. So you yourself, are you doing things better left to someone else to do? So if I'm making $30 an hour every hour of the day doing nothing, and I've got somebody that I will pay $120 to do a logo for me. And it'll probably take me 5 or 6 hours to do the logo. Is it worth my time to hire that person?
Yes.
I bill myself out at a $400 minimum. If the task at hand is going to cost me less than $400 an hour, I'm going to hire someone else to do it.
Right.
I have an entire garage full of yard equipment tools. Over the years, I've collected tools because I used to work and fix my own shit.
Right.
But I can hire Heber for 2 hours for 200, 300 bucks,
Right.
and he will go clean the yard, which will probably take me 3 or 4 hours. He'll do it in 2 hours, and it costs me 250, 300 bucks.
Yeah.
Leverage, man. And in
Yeah.
that 2 hours, I have a listing appointment and go potentially make 10 grand. So
Right.
the next part of your plans is leverage. Who power, my friends? Who power? So, all right, my friends, did you learn something today?
Always.
I'm glad to have you back. Happy Monday, happy Tuesday, whatever day of the week it is for you. Some of you weren't here yesterday, so I know today's your Monday. Stretch, it only gets worse.